You walk past a crow on the sidewalk. You don't think twice about it. But the crow thinks about you. It looks at your face. It remembers it. Not your clothes, not your walk, your actual face. And here's the unsettling part. If you've ever thrown something at a crow or trapped one or even just glared at it, that crow will remember your face for years. It will tell other crows. Crows that have never even met you will recognize you on sight and scream warnings when you walk by. Most people assume animals just see a human, the same way they see a tree or a car. A shape to avoid or ignore. That's not true at all. Some animals are quietly building a private file on you. Your face, your voice, your mood. Scientists have a name for this ability: individual human recognition. And once you understand how far it goes, you'll never walk past an animal the same way again. Stay till the end, because the last example involves an animal that can recognize you from a photograph it has never seen you in before. Let's start with the crow, because the crow's memory is almost frightening. In 2008, a wildlife biologist named John Marzluff ran an experiment at the University of Washington. His team put on rubber caveman masks and trapped wild crows on campus, just to band them for research. Then they took the masks off and went back to being ordinary people. But the crows didn't forget. For years afterward, any person wearing that exact mask got mobbed and scolded by crows on campus. Even crows that weren't there for the original trapping joined in. They had learned the danger secondhand. So what does that mean? It means crows don't just react to humans. They build a mental mugshot of a specific human, and they pass that mugshot down through the flock. Some of those campus crows are still recognizing the mask more than a decade later. Now picture that from your side. Every time you interact with a crow near your home, you might be leaving a permanent impression. A good one if you feed it, a bad one if you don't, and it won't forget either way. But crows aren't the only animals doing this. Sheep can do something even stranger. In 2001, a researcher named Keith Kendrick trained sheep to recognize photographs of human faces, not real people standing in front of them. Flat, two-dimensional photos. The sheep could pick out a familiar face from a lineup of strangers and hold that memory for more than 2 years. 2 years from a photo, with a brain the size of a walnut. Imagine you're the sheep for a second. You've been raised to think of yourself as prey, jumpy, simple, forgettable, and yet somewhere in that skull you're quietly cataloging the farmer who feeds you gently versus the one who yanks you around. That's not a coincidence. That's survival wiring. Any animal that lives close to humans has a reason to know exactly which human is safe and which one isn't. So how far up does this go? Let's talk about elephants, because this is where it gets almost eerie. In 2011, a researcher named Karen McComb studied elephants in Amboseli National Park in Kenya. She played recorded human voices through hidden speakers. Voices from the Maasai people, who sometimes spear elephants over grazing conflicts. And voices from the Kamba people, who mostly leave elephants alone. The elephants didn't just react to a strange sound, they reacted to a threat. When they heard Maasai voices, they bunched together, sniffed the air, and cautiously retreated. When they heard Kamba voices, they barely reacted at all. They could tell the difference between two human languages they had never studied. They could tell the difference between a group that might hurt them and a group that probably wouldn't. That's not instinct in the simple sense, that's memory, built from generations of encounters, passed down through a herd that has been quietly keeping score on humanity. But here's what's fascinating. It's not just about danger. Some animals recognize humans the way you'd recognize a friend. Dogs are the obvious one, but it goes deeper than most people think. A dog doesn't just know your smell. Research out of Eötvös-Loránd University in Hungary, led by Attila Andics, used brain scans to show that dogs process human voices in a region of their brain similar to where humans process voices, and they respond to emotional tone almost the way another person would. Your dog isn't just hearing sound, it's reading you. Your tone, your tension, your joy. And it's comparing that in real time to a lifetime of memories of your specific voice. So what happens when the roles reverse? What happens when the animal is the one being watched and it still knows who's watching? That's where horses come in, and this is the strangest one yet. In a study led by Amy Smith at the University of Sussex in 2016, horses were shown photographs of the same person, once with an angry expression, once with a happy one. Later, the researchers reintroduced that same person in real life, expressionless and neutral. The horses that had seen the angry photo showed more stress behavior and looked at the person with the eye linked to processing threat. The horses that had seen the happy photo stayed calm. A photograph, a single glance at a face on paper, and the horse carried that impression into a completely different, real-life encounter, days later. Think about what that means for you. You may have never met a horse in your life, but if a horse ever saw an angry photo of you, it might treat the real you differently the moment you walked in the barn door. An animal, judging your character from a picture. So let's zoom out. For most of human history, we assumed the watching only went one way. We study animals. We track them, tag them, photograph them. We think of ourselves as the observer and them as the observed. But the truth is messier than that. Crows are building case files on your face. Sheep are quietly ranking you against every other human who's ever handled them. Elephants are listening to the sound of your language and deciding in seconds whether your ancestors were a threat. Horses are reading your expression in a photo and carrying that verdict with them long after you've left the room. You've spent your whole life assuming you're invisible to the animals around you. You're not. Somewhere out there, a crow you've never noticed already knows your face. And it's already decided what kind of human you are.